Hey everyone, welcome back to SwitchTop. Today we're talking about something we've all experienced. That feeling when you tell yourself, just one more run, or just 5 more minutes, and suddenly it's 3 a.m. These are the 20 most addictive games on Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 that will completely consume your free time. Let's jump in. Dead Cells is a roguelike action platformer that drops you into the role of a blob of cells inhabiting a headless corpse, fighting through a constantly changing island prison. Every run feels different because the levels are procedurally generated, meaning the layout changes each time you die and restart. The combat is incredibly fluid and fast-paced, letting you mix melee weapons, ranged attacks, and skills to create your own playstyle. You'll unlock permanent upgrades and new weapons as you progress, but here's the hook. When you die, you lose most of your progress and start over from the beginning. The game uses a risk-reward system where you have to choose between different upgrade paths that fundamentally change how you approach each run. The tight controls and smooth 60 frames per second performance make every death feel like it was your fault, not the game's, which drives you to immediately jump back in for another attempt. The difficulty is punishing but fair, with multiple difficulty tiers that unlock as you get better. Dead Cells nails that perfect loop of learning enemy patterns, finding new weapon combinations, and gradually getting further each time. Splatoon 3 is Nintendo's take on competitive shooters, but instead of eliminating opponents, you're covering the arena in your team's colored ink. You play as an Inkling in the Splatlands, and while there's a single-player campaign involving the mysterious fuzzy ooze threatening the world, the real addictive pull is the online multiplayer. The core mechanic is genius. You can transform into a squid to swim through your team's ink for faster movement and stealth, then pop out in humanoid form to shoot. Turf War mode has you and 3 teammates battling another team to cover the most ground in ink within 3 minutes, creating this constant back-and-forth territorial control. The weapon variety is insane, from standard shooters to paint rollers, chargers that work like sniper rifles, and even stringers that fire multiple shots in an arc. Each weapon has different mobility, range, and special weapons, so finding your favorite loadout becomes part of the addiction. Ranked modes add objectives like controlling zones or moving a tower, and the seasonal Splatfests create limited-time events where the entire community picks sides. Hollow Knight puts you in control of a small, nameless knight, exploring the ruins of Halonest, an ancient underground kingdom of bugs. The kingdom fell to a mysterious infection that turned its citizens into mindless husks, and you'll slowly piece together what happened through environmental storytelling and cryptic NPC dialogue. The combat revolves around your nail, which is basically a tiny sword, and you unlock spells and abilities as you explore the massive, interconnected world. You earn soul by hitting enemies, which you can spend on either healing or casting powerful spells, creating constant tactical decisions in combat. The map system is brilliant but cruel. You have to find the map maker in each area, buy the incomplete map from him, then fill it in yourself as you explore. Movement abilities like wall jumping, dashing, and double jumping open up new areas in classic Metroidvania fashion. The charm system lets you equip different combinations of 45 charms that modify your abilities, health, and damage output. Death means you lose all your currency and respawn at the last bench you rested at, but you can recover it by returning to where you died and defeating your shade. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the definitive platform fighter, bringing together over 80 characters from gaming history to battle across more than 100 stages. Unlike traditional fighting games, the goal is to knock opponents off the stage rather than depleting a health bar as you take damage. Your launch distance increases, making it easier to send you flying. Each character plays completely differently, from Mario's balanced moveset to technical characters like Peach with her float mechanics and turnip poles. The controls are accessible enough for casual play, but have incredible depth for competitive players who master techniques like short hopping, fast falling, and directional influence. Classic mode gives each character a unique themed campaign, World of Light is the massive, single-player adventure mode with hundreds of spirit battles that modify the rules in creative ways. An online multiplayer lets you fight players worldwide with customizable rule sets. The real addiction comes from the learning process. Every character has unique movement properties, attack speeds, and recovery options, so there's always something new to master. Animal Crossing New Horizons starts with you taking Tom Nook's deserted island package, arriving with just a tent and 2 random animal villagers. There's no traditional story. Instead, you create your own daily routine of gathering resources, crafting items, catching bugs and fish, and slowly developing your island into a personalized paradise. The game runs in real time, synced to your system clock, so the time of day, weather, and seasons all match reality. Different bugs, fish, and sea creatures appear during specific months, times, and weather conditions, creating a year-long collection game. You'll gather wood, stone, and iron to craft furniture and tools, though tools break after extended use, keeping you in a constant loop of resource gathering. The big hook is customization. You can terraform your island, changing rivers and cliffs, place furniture anywhere outside, and design custom patterns for clothing and decorations. Villagers move in and out over time, each with distinct personalities and daily routines, and building relationships with them through gifts and conversation is surprisingly engaging. Turnips create a stock market minigame where you buy on Sunday and sell throughout the week when prices are high. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is a precision platformer where the Snowmads, a group of Arctic invaders, have frozen DK Island, and you need to chase them across multiple islands to reclaim your home. You control Donkey Kong with the ability to partner with Diddy, Dixie, or Cranky Kong, each providing different abilities. Diddy has a jetpack for extended jumps, Dixie can helicopter spin to slow descent, and Cranky can bounce on his cane like a pogo stick. The level design is absolutely brilliant, with each stage introducing new mechanics and gimmicks that are explored thoroughly before moving on. You'll ride minecarts, blast between barrel cannons, swim through underwater sections with different physics, and navigate dynamic foreground and background elements. Collecting the Kong letters in each level and finding hidden puzzle pieces adds extra challenge and replay value. The levels are built around momentum and rhythm. Once you learn the patterns, you can flow through them almost without stopping. But getting to that point requires memorization and practice. Boss fights are multi-phase encounters that require learning attack patterns and finding openings. Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, is a tactical RPG set in the kingdom of Ivalice, following Ramza Bjolv as he gets caught up in a complex war between noble houses while uncovering a conspiracy involving the church and ancient demons. The story is dark and politically driven, dealing with themes of class warfare, religious corruption, and the nature of heroism, told through a mix of story battles and optional encounters. Combat takes place on grid-based 3D battlefields, where positioning, height advantage, and facing direction all matter. The job system is the core of the gameplay. Characters can switch between 20+ jobs, like Knight, Black Mage, Monk, and Dragoon, each with unique abilities. As you master jobs, you can mix and match abilities from different classes to create custom builds. Turn order is determined by a speed stat, and you can see the upcoming turn order, allowing for strategic planning. Actions have charge times, so faster abilities execute quicker, while powerful spells take multiple turns to cast. Friendly fire is always on, making area of effect spells risky but powerful. Between battles, you'll buy and upgrade equipment, learn new abilities by accumulating JP from battles, and recruit generic units to build your perfect team. Donkey Kong Bonanza stands out as one of the most addictive modern Nintendo experiences by reimagining Donkey Kong as a fully physics-driven 3D platformer built around freedom and destruction. Instead of rigid level paths, the game drops you into expansive underground worlds where terrain can be smashed, dug through, torn apart, and repurposed, turning exploration itself into a constant source of reward. Movement feels weighty and expressive, with DK able to roll, climb, punch, rip chunks of the environment, and throw them at enemies or obstacles, making traversal and combat feel tactile and reactive. The gameplay loop deepens through animal-based transformations that dramatically change how you interact with the world, from high-speed traversal to gliding, terrain manipulation, or vertical mobility, all usable dynamically rather than in scripted moments. Story-wise, the adventure is driven by a surprisingly charming partnership between Donkey Kong and Pauline, whose musical abilities power transformations and add personality to both narrative and mechanics, while also supporting light co-op play. Mario Kart World pushes the series' addictive formula forward by transforming traditional track-based racing into a seamlessly connected world that blends competition with exploration. Instead of jumping between isolated circuits, you drive across a living map where cities, plains, forests, and highways flow naturally into race routes, encouraging experimentation beyond the main road. Core Mario Kart fundamentals remain tight and instantly familiar, with precise drifting, item management, and boost timing still deciding victories, but they're layered with new mechanics like charge jumps, wall riding, and rail grinding that expand how you approach corners, shortcuts, and recovery. Races scale up with larger grids, increasing chaos and unpredictability while keeping skill expression front and center. Between structured modes like Grand Prix-style events and elimination-based challenges, free roaming lets you discover objectives, hidden routes, and playful side activities that reward curiosity as much as speed. While the game doesn't lean heavily on traditional storytelling, its sense of journey comes from progression across the world itself, creating a continuous adventure driven by rivalry, mastery, and exploration. Vampire Survivors is a minimalist roguelike, where you control a character who auto-attacks while you focus entirely on positioning and dodging endless waves of monsters for 30 minutes or until you die. There's a loose story about vampires and ancient evils, but honestly, you're here for the gameplay loop. You start each run weak, but as you level up from collecting gems dropped by enemies, you choose from random weapon and power-up options. Weapons evolve when you combine the right items, transforming weak starting weapons into screen-clearing destruction. A simple whip might evolve into a holy whip that creates explosions, or throwing knives could become infinite homing daggers. The genius is in the build variety. Over 50 weapons and 30 power-ups mean every run feels different depending on what the RNG offers you. You unlock new characters by completing challenges, and each has different starting weapons and stats that favor certain playstyles. Some characters start with more health but move slower. Others begin with a powerful weapon but have severe disadvantages. Permanent meta progression comes from spending gold earned in runs to unlock new characters, upgrade the power of specific weapons, and add items to the random selection pool. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the ultimate version of Nintendo's iconic racing series, packing 48 tracks, 42 characters, and every piece of DLC into one massive package. The core gameplay loop is simple but endlessly replayable. Race on imaginative tracks inspired by the Mario universe while using items like shells, bananas, and the infamous blue shell to gain an advantage or ruin someone's day. The anti-gravity sections let you drive on walls and ceilings, completely changing the way tracks flow and adding a fresh twist to the formula. You can customize your kart with different bodies, wheels, and gliders that actually affect your stats, like speed, acceleration, and handling, giving you control over your racing style. The 150cc and 200cc difficulties provide genuine challenge, and mastering the drift boost system, where you build up sparks by holding turns, becomes second nature after a few races. Battle Mode brings back arena-based chaos, with modes like Balloon Battle and Bob-omb Blast across dedicated arenas. Online multiplayer is where the addiction really kicks in. The ranking system and tournaments keep you coming back to improve your rating, and the matchmaking is quick enough that you're always one button press away from another race. Celeste follows Madeline, a young woman battling anxiety and depression who decides to climb Celeste Mountain to prove something to herself, though she's not entirely sure what. The story explores mental health with surprising depth as Madeline confronts a dark reflection of herself that represents her self-doubt and negative thoughts. The platforming mechanics are brutally simple. You can jump, climb walls for limited stamina, and dash once in any direction before touching the ground to refresh it. These basic tools combine to create incredibly complex challenges where you're threading through spikes, timing jumps between moving platforms, and chaining dashes mid-air to reach seemingly impossible gaps. The game is split into chapters, each introducing new mechanics like wind currents, bubbles that restore your dash, or feathers that let you fly temporarily. Death is instant and frequent, but respawns are literally instantaneous with no loading, so you're immediately trying again with barely any interruption. The level design is absolutely genius, teaching you mechanics through carefully structured challenges before ramping up the difficulty. B-side and C-side levels unlock after completing chapters, offering remixed, ultra-hard versions that will truly test your skills. Hades puts you in the role of Zagreus, the prince of the underworld who's trying to escape his father Hades' domain to reach the surface and find his missing mother, Persephone. Each escape attempt takes you through procedurally generated chambers filled with enemies, and when you die, you wake up back in the House of Hades, where you can talk to other characters and slowly uncover the full story through hundreds of unique dialogue lines. The combat is fast and fluid, with 6 different weapons ranging from a sword, to a gun, to a spear. And each weapon has multiple aspects that completely change how it plays. During runs, you receive boons from various Olympian gods that modify your abilities. Zeus adds chain lightning, Ares adds doom effects that detonate for delayed damage, Aphrodite weakens enemies, and the combinations create wildly different builds every time. You can dash to avoid attacks, use a cast to throw projectile attacks, and trigger powerful call abilities that summon gods briefly. The Mirror of Night provides permanent upgrades using darkness you collect, letting you increase health, gain extra dashes, or improve your death defiance charges that let you revive once per run.
You want to die again?
Hollow Knight Silksong earns its reputation as one of the most addictive modern Nintendo experiences by refining the Metroidvania formula around speed, precision, and constant discovery. You step into the role of Hornet, whose agile movement and aggressive combat style immediately set a faster, more acrobatic rhythm than its predecessor, with fluid dashes, wall clings, aerial control, and diagonal strikes encouraging momentum-driven play. Combat is tightly tuned and demanding, built around a silk-based resource system that ties healing, abilities, and tools directly to how confidently you engage enemies, rewarding smart positioning and controlled risk-taking. Exploration unfolds across the kingdom of Farloom, a dense, vertically layered world filled with towns, hostile zones, secrets, and optional challenges that constantly tempt you off the critical path. Progression is shaped through tools and crests that customize Hornet's abilities, allowing different approaches to traversal and combat while keeping experimentation meaningful. Rather than relying on overt exposition, the story is woven into environments, NPC encounters, and side quests, gradually revealing the nature of Farloom and Hornet's purpose within it. Ball X Pit stands out as an incredibly addictive experience by blending classic arcade physics with modern roguelike progression into a fast, endlessly replayable loop. Gameplay revolves around descending into a massive pit and unleashing bouncing balls against swarms of enemies, where smart angles, chained ricochets, and on-the-fly decision-making turn simple aiming into controlled chaos. As enemies fall, you collect experience to level up mid-run, choosing from new ball types, passive upgrades, and powerful modifiers that can be combined or evolved into devastating hybrid weapons, ensuring no two runs play the same. The action steadily escalates into near bullet hell intensity, rewarding positioning and planning as much as reflexes. Between runs, the game deepens its hook with a persistent meta layer. Resources gathered in the pit are used to rebuild and expand a surface settlement, unlock structures, and recruit new playable characters, each offering distinct abilities that reshape strategies on future attempts. Storytelling stays light, centered on the mystery of the pit and the effort to rebuild after catastrophe, but it provides enough context to give progression a sense of purpose. Balatro earns its place among the most addictive games on Nintendo platforms by transforming familiar poker rules into a deeply strategic roguelike loop that constantly challenges how you think about risk and reward. Each run revolves around forming poker hands to score enough chips to clear escalating blinds. But the real hook comes from how dramatically the system can be bent and broken through deck-building choices. Joker cards act as the heart of the experience, introducing powerful modifiers that alter scoring rules, multiply values, or enable unexpected synergies, pushing you to adapt your strategy on the fly rather than rely on fixed patterns. Between rounds, earned chips let you refine your deck by adding, removing, or enhancing cards, creating a strong sense of momentum as small decisions snowball into wildly effective builds. The tension lies in balancing consistency against ambition, knowing that one risky purchase or reroll could either define the run or end it prematurely. While Balatro doesn't tell a traditional story, progression itself becomes the narrative, driven by mastery, experimentation, and unlocking new possibilities that expand how the game can be played. Absolum earns its addictive pull by fusing classic, side-scrolling beat-em-up combat with modern roguelite structure, and a dark fantasy setting that constantly rewards persistence. Each run begins with the choice of a distinct hero, ranging from agile sword fighters to heavier, ability-driven characters, each defined by unique movesets, strengths, and tactical roles that dramatically change how combat unfolds. Fighting is fast, weighty, and combo-focused, built around chaining light and heavy attacks, precise dodges, counters, and the smart use of powerful magical abilities that consume limited resources, forcing careful decision-making in the middle of chaos. The roguelite framework keeps every attempt fresh, through branching paths, randomized encounters, and unlockable modifiers that reshape your build, ensuring failure still feeds long-term progression rather than halting momentum. Between battles, narrative fragments and character interactions gradually flesh out a war-torn world ruled by a tyrannical power, giving emotional context to the endless cycle of combat and rebirth. Storytelling stays subtle, letting lore emerge naturally through environments and encounters rather than exposition. Stardew Valley starts with you inheriting your grandfather's old farm in Stardew Valley, leaving behind your soul-crushing corporate job to start a new life, growing crops, raising animals, and becoming part of a small community. There's an overarching story involving the magical Junimos, who need your help restoring the community center. which leads to unlocking new areas and revealing the valley's mystical history. The daily loop revolves around managing your energy as you clear your overgrown farm, plant seasonal crops, water them daily, and harvest for profit to expand your operation. You can raise chickens, cows, pigs, and other animals that produce resources, go mining in procedurally generated caves to gather ore and fight monsters, or fish in different locations with a timing-based minigame. The town has 12 romanceable characters, each with detailed storylines that unlock through building relationships by giving gifts and talking to them regularly, eventually leading to marriage and family life. Seasonal festivals and events happen throughout the year, and certain crops, fish, and foraging items only appear during specific seasons, creating natural goals and planning requirements. Fantasy Life I, the girl who steals time, earns its addictive reputation by expanding the original Fantasy Life formula into a richer, more flexible blend of RPG progression, life simulation, and open-ended adventure. At its core, the game revolves around freely switching between multiple lives, such as combat classes, gathering roles, and crafting professions, allowing you to shape your playstyle moment to moment without penalty. Combat is accessible yet engaging, built around real-time action, positioning, and skill growth, while gathering and crafting systems feed directly into progression, equipment, and world development, creating a deeply interconnected loop. Exploration plays a major role, with a broad world that encourages curiosity through hidden resources, optional challenges, and evolving regions shaped by time travel mechanics. Story-wise, the narrative centers on a mysterious girl capable of stealing time and an island caught between past and present, weaving personal character moments with a light but intriguing fantasy mystery. Rather than pushing urgency, the game thrives on player-driven pacing, letting you chase story objectives, perfect a craft, grind a life to mastery, or simply wander and help NPCs. Hades 2 earns its place among the most addictive modern Nintendo experiences by refining the fast, reactive roguelike formula into something deeper, darker, and more flexible. You play as Malinois, a witch of the underworld whose combat style blends precise melee strikes, ranged attacks, and spellcasting, powered by a unique magic system that rewards aggressive, confident play. Each run throws you into shifting encounters filled with mythological enemies where positioning, timing, and build choices matter just as much as raw reflexes. Weapons feel distinct and customizable, while boons, granted by Olympian gods, dramatically reshape abilities, encouraging experimentation and constantly changing strategies from one attempt to the next. Progress doesn't reset with failure. Instead, every run feeds into long-term upgrades, new tools, and deeper relationships unlocked in a central hub that ties mechanical growth directly to narrative development. Storytelling unfolds organically through dialogue and evolving character interactions, gradually revealing Malinois's mission to challenge the forces threatening the balance of gods and mortals, with themes of fate, legacy, and rebellion woven naturally into the loop. And that's our top 20 most addictive games on Nintendo Switch and Switch 2. These games will absolutely consume your time in the best possible way. What game has stolen the most hours from your life? Drop it in the comments below and let me know if there are any addictive titles I missed. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and subscribe to SwitchTop for more Nintendo content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.